Dr. Yasser Adu was responding to an individual who had questions about Muhammad's being possessed or his suicide attempts, and the good doctor lies about what he says is in the Islamic sources. He says, quote, "The Prophet never tried to commit suicide, as the website you are referring to was saying. There is no narration or even a lie that talked about such attempted suicide in any historical account." And you can find more information on was Muhammad possessed and suicidal. So let's look at the actual historical accounts and see what we find. We can look at Sahih Bukhari 6982 narrated Aisha, the child bride of Muhammad. But after a few days, Wadika died, and the divine inspiration was also paused for a while, and the Prophet became so sad, as we have heard, that he intended several times to throw himself from the tops of high mountains. And every time he went up to the top of the mountain in order to throw himself down, Gabriel would appear before him and say, "O Muhammad, you are indeed Allah's messenger in truth," whereupon his heart would become quiet and he would calm down and return home. So here we see Muhammad clearly goes up to the top of the mountain in order to throw himself off and kill himself. So the good doctor once again lied here. We can also see another source that confirms that Muhammad indeed tried to commit suicide. The context of this passage is right after Muhammad receives his first revelation in the cave of Hira, and this can be found in the Life of Muhammad, page 106. It says, "So I read it, and he departed, and I awoke from my sleep, and it was as though these words were written on my heart. Now none of God's creatures was more hateful to me than an esoteric poet or a man possessed. I could not even look at them. I thought, woe is me, poet or possessed. Never shall Quraysh say this of me. I will go to the top of the mountains and throw myself down, that I may kill myself and gain rest." So that I went forth to do, and then, when I was midway on the mountain, I heard a voice from heaven saying, "O Muhammad, thou art the apostle of God, and I am Gabriel." So once again, we can see that Muhammad did indeed try to commit suicide by throwing himself off the top of the mountain. We can see in the History of Tabari, volume 6, page 72, it says, "He began to go to the tops of mountain crags in order to fling himself from them, but every time he reached the summit of a mountain, Gabriel appeared to him and said to him, 'You are the prophet of God.' Thereupon his anxiety would subside, and he would come back to himself." So we have three Islamic sources, indicating that Muhammad did indeed try to commit suicide several times. And yet this doctor, who is answering a question for another Muslim, blatantly lies and says that they're not in the Muslim sources, that they are not, not authentic, not official. But here we have the Muslim sources, black and white on the page, saying that Muhammad did indeed try to commit suicide several times. So if Muslim scholars will blatantly lie to the Ummah about this event with regards to Muhammad's suicide, ask yourself, what else are the Muslim scholars hiding from you?